Hey guys, and welcome to the original Get Life podcast. And you're like, oh my god, Bish, what's going on? You haven't been on in a long time. Last time you were joined with Kevin and Joe and Tyson. What's going on there? And then you just didn't do an episode for a long time. Well, I'm just here to tell you that this is the relaunch episode of the Get Life podcast. Everything's going to change. Before, when we started the podcast, when I started the podcast, it was a one-man team. And then it was just me giving you guys gaming news. And after a while, it turned into interviews, and then those interviews became discussions, and we kind of stuck with the whole discussion thing for a long time, and it kind of works. And it's what you guys have been asking for. You wanted more people other than myself to kind of bash opinions on, etc., etc. So joined with me today, we got the awesome Joe.
Hi.
And we got the lovely Kevin.
What's up, guys?
I don't know why I called you lovely, Kevin, but, you know, I was going to say...
Because I am.
I was going to call you, like, Karen or something. I was going to give you a girl's name, because, you know, just for the lols. Kevin, what was the name that I gave you in that letter? I gave you, like a female's name. I can't even remember which one it was.
I think it was Karen.
I
think I have it.
Don't think it was
right
Karen.
Now.
I don't think... It was, like, Coco or something like... I don't even know what it was.
Team Coco.
Coco the Clown. But we'll see. I don't know what it is, actually. You know, you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Just saying. Anyway. So, as Kevin's trying to find that that piece of paper saying what I named him, I'm just going to talk about the podcast a bit more. Just because this is the introduction, this is the new introduction for the relaunch. As you guys have seen, we got new logos, new everything, and hopefully soon a new website as well. And with this relaunch, we're trying to aim to give you guys gaming news, but it's not going to be solely gaming news. It's going to be discussions, but it's not going to be discussions based on what we see at E3, etc. It's going to be discussions on gaming today and topics that really mean something to each one of us. So we'll be researching on those topics, discussing them, and encouraging you guys to give us topics as well. If you want to give us topics, you can hit me up. Just tweet at me at Get a Life Podcast. Or, you know, send us an email at galp.pea@gmail.com. It's the same email that we use for Kunai, but, you know, that's not a problem. You guys can send that email. It'll get its way to me. Kevin, did you find the letter?
Yeah, so for you new folks, Get a Life Podcast is a monthly gaming discussion podcast under the Get a Life group, of course. And we talk about all sorts of games, from, you know, those big AAA games all the way to those awesome indie games. But our forte, what we concentrate on, is our Japanese games. So expect a lot of that. We can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music. And if you want to join in the fun and talk to us, like Bish said, we can be found on Twitter at Get a Life Podcast. Also, if you like what you hear today, you can help support us at lootcrate.com/getalife.
So yeah, as this is an introductory episode, and, you know, you guys may have seen Kevin and Joe from Kunai before. We tried doing an episode like this about maybe in October, but it didn't quite work because, you know, I was homeless. Nothing to joke about there, but, you know, I wasn't in a position to do a proper episode. So in regards to that, no one really knows of our gaming interests. Everyone just knows about what anime we like and who's our best girls and whatnot. So
well, I mean, they don't know anything except for the fact that that Danganronpa was in my blood.
Yeah, I have the impression that Joe, like, lives, breathes, shits Danganronpa. Like he probably plays that like religion.
I don't think he plays it because, you know, now the anime's come out, I think Joe is just focused on Danganronpa the anime. And to be honest, I still haven't seen it.
You don't understand, like, every week when the newest 2 episodes of Danganronpa 3 come out, it's like I'm always just trying to theorize what's going on in the show because, frankly, I am very, very confused.
Joe, I have a question to ask you. Would you like to see that as a visual novel? Or no? Like, the anime be adapted into a visual novel or anything like that?
Honestly, I'm fine with it as just staying in anime because they did say Kodaka himself said, like, they're doing things that would only be possible in an anime, and I don't think it would exactly transition well into a visual novel. It's like I much prefer seeing the action, like, in the form of an anime.
You know what? I've heard a lot of the same thing, actually. I can't comment on too much because I haven't played Danganronpa.
But you still need to.
Yet, I need to, and I will hopefully soon because Bish actually was kind enough to gift me Danganronpa 1 and 2 on Steam.
The thing with visual novels is that they're very still. So like action wouldn't exactly translate well. Like if Danganronpa 3 were more of an action game, that kind of like it was mixed with the visual novel and action, kind of like Danganronpa Another Episode, then maybe it would work. But I don't see it working as a game.
Yeah, and that's what some people say as well. Like apparently, after Danganronpa 2, it was quote unquote run into a corner, so they had to do an anime. Is that true?
That is not true. No, like the anime is seen as more of like a thank you letter to everyone who supported the series up to now. It's like it could have ended at Danganronpa 2, but like here's the thing: Danganronpa 1, the animation was more for people to get into the series, and Danganronpa 3 is more like a love letter to everyone who supported like Danganronpa 1, 2, Another Episode, Danganronpa 0, like all these different things. So it just feels good watching the anime.
So moving on from that point, I can tell that anyone that's listening will obviously know that Joe is a big fan of Danganronpa. But I think that's a good kind of segue into what is kind of our gaming history, like what's our favorite games and such. A lot of people that have seen the podcast obviously know that I'm a big fan of Dynasty Warriors. I love those kind of games, and obviously I'm a big fan of that. But people don't necessarily know yours, Kevin, or kind of Joe has given us some sort of taster of what he likes. So I'm really interested in what kind of gaming genres are you interested in, Kevin?
Yeah, because we don't really talk about that on Kunai too often. Unless you follow me on Twitter, you wouldn't really know what I'm into. But for those that do know me, they know that I'm a huge FPS player. That's my main genre. I do dip my toes into other genres from time to time, like RPGs, visual novels, Sims, now more recently. But yeah, FPS is like the backbone of my Steam library, quite frankly. And even back when I had a 360, that's what I mainly used to play, right? So in terms of what I like, I really like things like Battleborn, Overwatch. Even though I've played a bit of it, I haven't bought it yet. I'll get into that later. But FPSs are really they're my cup of tea, if you will. I love them to bits, whether they be really fast action and fast-paced games like COD, although, I personally don't play it that much anymore. I still do hop on from time to time. I get a few games in. Or, it's more tactical, like CSGO or Battlefield. I just all around love that genre for some reason. It's just great, and you just meet so many people through it, right? And I'll tell you right now, most of my gaming is done through multiplayer. And when I do occasionally play single-player only games, it's mostly through portable,
You mentioned something when you said you kind of met a lot of your friends through like FPSs, and I think that is quite true. It's quite social, even though it's not necessarily intended to be like a social gaming platform. But I've met a lot of people, people that I started off playing Call of Duty Zombies with. Like, shout out to my friend Aiden, because Aiden has been bugging me. He's been like, oh, Georgie, you have to give me a shout out on your podcast, blah blah. And I'm giving him a shout out, and Aiden, you're fucking boss. That's what I'm doing. I didn't do this just to give him a shout out, but I'm saying, he's one of my good friends, and I only met him because my friend Mark introduced me to him in a game of zombies, and he's a fucking legend. So shout out to Aiden. But that's what I was gonna say, is that FPSs are very, very social. Like, I don't know, there's something about it. It's like you have this one common goal, especially if you're playing like team-based games like Overwatch, or if you're playing a bit of domination, or my favorite game mode in Call of Duty, Demolition. But that's
all the way
Demolition. But this isn't a Call of Duty podcast, let's be real. So, but my point here was that there's something odd about FPSs. It just brings people together. It also breaks people apart. But games that I think also really break people apart more so would be games like Smash Brothers and Mario Kart and things like that, because they're really
fighting
competitive.
Games.
Yeah, of course. And that leads me on to another point. I know you're a big fan of fighting games. Care to elaborate?
Am I a fan? Definitely. Am I any good? That I can't comment on that. All right, that's something for another day. Right? You might find out for yourself. You can 1v1 me. I'll get kicked to shit. But I like to consider myself a fighting game enthusiast. All right, and that's very important because I'm not quite good at it. I'm still using a gamepad at the moment, although I really hope I get enough money to get a fight pad, and get good at fighting games. But mostly I play Super Smash Bros., which I played to shit on the GameCube. Melee, in my opinion, it's the best in the series.
I swear to God, Kevin. I swear to God, Kevin.
Oh, no. Go ahead. I know what you're about to say. Oh, yeah, dude, Wii U Master Race, yeah. No, but seriously, what do you think, Joe?
No, you know what? Because
you're a fan of the
Super
Smash Bros. As well, right? Because I know that you're a pretty huge fan of Smash Bros., right?
Yeah, I like Smash Bros. Honestly, if you like Melee, it's not really a problem for me. Like, it's really fun. It's just very difficult for me. Like, but I'm not gonna like push that. I'm not gonna say like it's bad because I'm not good at the game and it's very tight. Like, it's like people are good at the game, people enjoy it, people like playing competitively. It's like, they're good for you. It's like it's a fun game, and I understand why you'd want to play so much.
So, what's your favorite Smash Brothers game, Joe? Because you haven't mentioned it.
Yeah. It's a Wii U one.
I have to say, yeah, honestly, it is the one on Wii U.
What?
It's like with
That's pretty for me. The one on the Wii U pretty much feels the same as the one on the Wii. Feels like was it Brawl? It feels exactly like that.
I mean, as someone who's played both, I can safely disagree. Like, it feels like it just feels a little more balanced. Like, it's almost like Melee and Brawl kind of had a baby. It's like it's like a little more fast paced than Brawl. It's like it's not as tight as Melee. It's kind of like takes stuff from both, and it kind of makes its own game.
Just to be clear, I might have a slight bias because I have played the Wii U version and the 3DS version, but I haven't spent nearly as much time on the Wii U version as I have on the older GameCube one, right? Because that back in the day.
No, like, I agree. Like, I spent a lot of time on Melee too. I agree it's a very solid game as well. I'm just kind of saying, like, it's like as far as like balance goes and like variety goes, I'd say Smash 4 is my favorite, because it's like the roster is huge now. Like, it's nowhere near as big as
Sakurai did. Like, fucking props to him, because he went over the top with Smash Bros. All right, like, we have him to thank for that.
Yeah, Sakurai is pretty good. But I do gotta say though, I do enjoy I do prefer the fast pace of Melee. Like, it just makes everything feel so action packed and feel so intense. It's like even though Smash Bros. 4 is a little faster, it's not fast. Like, it's a little faster than Brawl. It's still kind of slow in a way.
Yeah, like, I think we can all agree though, like, despite our different opinions on what the best Smash game is. Actually, Bish, you haven't mentioned what yours is. You asked Joe and I, but
my
you
favorite
haven't mentioned.
Smash game is the Wii version, because I've played the one on the GameCube. I agree with Joe. It is quite difficult to play for me. I prefer using the nunchuck and the nunchuck and the Wiimote. I don't know. I just find the game controller very difficult to use.
Bish, let me ask you a question. How do you sleep at night?
I sleep very comfortably, Joe, in my bed, playing Overwatch, because I don't fucking sleep. Pow. But yeah, I think the Wii one is, I prefer that one. But I have played the GameCube one, and I have played the Wii U one as well. But yeah, Link all the way.
I'd say as far as physics and
and
balance goes, like, Brawl is kind of inferior. But I do like the presentation. It's like they introduce a lot of cool characters, and the
Although
story mode
I'm not really happy with the new characters in the Wii U version. Like, why did Ryu have to be
It's the same
introduced?
roster.
No, I mean, like, the DLC characters.
Same
You
roster
got
with new
Ryu,
characters.
you got Pac-Man.
Oh.
Why?
Honestly, I think it's just because Capcom is just dishing out them dollar bills.
But you can do like a Hadouken with one button press. That's ridiculous. I understand porting that move over might be a bit difficult.
I do. To be honest, I do like the exposure, because it means like people get to see these different kinds of series. Like, who's this character from? If they're interested, they can play the game. Like,
but then again, it's like Ryu, man. Everybody knows who Ryu is.
Right? For example, because of Smash Bros. 4, I was exposed to Xenoblade Chronicles, which is probably one of my favorite games.
But that's a
time.
Nintendo title. That's fair enough. But when you start introducing characters from Capcom games, and I think Snake was in
the
Wii
Brawl,
version,
right?
And it was just like, why? They don't even have Metal Gear Solid games on the Wii.
Well, I
That's
mean,
the thing
here's
I
the
don't
thing.
get.
Like, even
why have that?
it's like that's not really the point. Like, even if it's a Nintendo game, it doesn't excuse it from being like Capcom or Namco or something like that. These characters are being introduced and like they're having exposure.
I understand the Namco characters come in because Namco has developed this game. It wasn't necessarily Nintendo are just the publishers here, but I can understand why Pac-Man's in the game and such. But for Ryu and characters like Snake from Metal Gear Solid, that's a bit weird because I haven't seen a Street Fighter game.
I mean, that's what Sakurai's known for. It's like something you just don't expect to be in the game.
But I don't see why it would be a bad thing though, Bish. Like Joe said, at the end of the day,
really
it's still a cross
thing.
promotion,
It's just
right?
more exposure.
Mm-hmm. And if you're a Street
more
Fighter fan,
exposure,
then,
and you get to play as your favorite character.
Exactly.
No, it feels out of place. It's kind of like in Mario Kart where you had that Mercedes cross promotion where you can drive a GLA in Mario Kart. It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, that's honestly that kind of does make sense. It's
in that case, it just feels really out of place.
But like, I still think kind of fits because it's kind of like a car is.
I know
like a car company is.
I know, but it's not a go kart. It's a luxury car.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, it looks like a little like those little bumper cars you see in carnivals. It's like that's what it looked like when somebody was riding inside them. It was the funniest thing.
And I don't know why they picked that car. I think it's mainly because that car was a new model for Mercedes when the game came out.
It would have been even better if it were just giant cars next to each other on a Mario Kart racing course. No, it's like a life-size Mercedes-Benz. Like
life-size? That would be ridiculous, Joe. Imagine how many races you would win.
It's so funny though. It's like you're on a tiny little track and you see all these different cars just bumping into each other.
But would they scale Mario up, or would he be the same size in the car?
Well, no, it would just be like Mario just be in a life-size Mercedes-Benz like every other character.
We've kind of spoke about Nintendo a lot, and if you guys have seen the old episodes of the podcast, you know that I wasn't really a big fan of Nintendo. I used to shit on Nintendo a lot. But, now I've kind of calmed down. I respect Nintendo a lot more. They're still... I'm cool with Nintendo. I hope Nintendo are cool with me. But to be honest, Nintendo
it's like, sorry about that. It's kind of like... I was... on my bad. Keep talking.
Yeah, as I was saying, Nintendo recently have done like a good job in terms of the games that they've been releasing, although they are hemorrhaging money. And this was a conversation I was speaking to Kevin about. Like, we were just having a casual chat. I was playing some Overwatch. Shout out to you, Blizzard. Yeah. So I was playing some Overwatch, and this topic just came up, and it was just like they are losing so much money, even though they have like the Pokemon Company assets and things like that.
Yeah, even though Pokemon Go is like blowing up, and that's all you hear about if you go outside now. Oh my God, Pokemon Go, right? But like,
I mean, here's the problem. With Nintendo right now. Like, this year has been very scarce. They haven't had many big releases.
I don't think it's just this year though. I think it goes. It's goes back a bit further.
Well, no, like, here's the thing. If you look at like 2015 and some part of 2014, like it's like they were just pushing games out, and then so all of a sudden it's kind of like it's a really slow rate. It's like this year, like, what big releases can you think about? Like, that's probably the case, but it's like, think about it. You had, like, there's Metroid Prime Federation Force, which is still getting a little bit of hate. You have Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is hype. Yeah, and can you think of anything else?
I mean, the thing is, I think we all like Nintendo. Like, I really love Nintendo because, a lot of us owe our childhood memories, in gaming, and our introduction to gaming to Nintendo, all right? That's a simple fact. They were huge back then. They were still huge, but they're not quite the same company that they used to be. And I think the problem is just the way that they've been handling, marketing and their strategies recently with consoles, right? Like, if you think about it, the Wii was a huge success, right, in terms of sales. It completely blew the PS3 and Xbox 360 out of the water in terms of sales. All right.
Well, it's more because of like the innovation in the Wii. Yeah. Like, after that, it kind of just slowed down.
Exactly. Like I was talking to Bish the other day, I was like, the thing with the Wii and the reason the Wii U failed, I think, is that the motion controls, that was completely new, and Microsoft and Sony quickly jumped on the bandwagon because it's so new and so hyped up, right? And everyone wanted to get into that new sort of gaming that nobody saw before, right? Nobody
I
experienced
kind of
before.
disagree with that, because Sony before obviously the Wii came out, they had the iToy, which was basically the they didn't push it, yes, but it's not like the technology wasn't there. I understand. More so for Microsoft, they saw this kind of success of the Wii, and they were like, we need something. So then they developed the Kinect. So, aka Project Natal, if anyone remembers.
Well, I mean,
Kinect.
here's the thing: it was the innovation combined with the titles they had, because there are some very good Wii titles available. But after that, when you think about it, it's like, what else is there that you can download? Like, it's like you can download different games to your Wii. It's like you can you have these more. You have more and more. There's a lot more shovelware that I can think of than actual games.
The problem is with the Wii is that once the novelty of motion controls and all that wears off, you kind of lose your willingness to play on the Wii. Because if you think about it, who the hell is gonna play a fucking FPS on a Wii with controls? Because they basically stuck their head out and they put everything that they had on motion controls for.
Well, I mean, except for Metroid Prime, though, that's more of a quote-unquote first-person adventure.
Yeah, but that was on GameCube, no?
It was on GameCube and it was ported to Wii.
I think what Kevin's talking about is those shitty Call of Duty games on the Wii, like the World at War remakes, which wasn't actually a proper port. Somehow they just created a new game. And Modern Warfare, I think not Modern Warfare 2, was Modern Warfare 3, I think had a Wii port. 4
and World at War. After that, I don't think. Well, there was Black Ops 1.
To be honest, I didn't pay attention to it because I knew it was just gonna suck on Wii.
Exactly,
but
that's the problem.
That's the thing. Activision gave that to, I think, Raven Software to develop, because they were like, you know what? We don't want Treyarch or Infinity Ward to be wasting their time with this when there are the real players on the Xbox 360. But we
still want to milk the franchise, so let's release a very watered down version for those poor guys on Wii, right? That's the thing with the Wii. The motion controls, it was its greatest asset, but it's a double-edged sword, right? It's also what hurt the Wii.
It's used very well, but it also doesn't work.
I find that for many things, Nintendo, they know their own console and they can apply it very well. They can apply all the features in that very well. And you have to commend Wii Sports are doing a great job at demonstrating what the Wii was capable of. But third-party developers, they never really they don't have much experience with motion controls, right? So the thing is, they can't, or it's very rare that they're able to harness the full potential of motion controls.
I don't think it's a
Nintendo
problem of the developer, because before the development cycle, they just don't get the game, they don't get the console straight away. They get a development kit, like an SDK and such. It should be Nintendo's responsibility to do some sort of conference and say, this is what we want to do with the Wii or the Wii U or whatever, and then show them gameplay examples, and then say we want you guys to do similar sort of stuff, like be imaginative, be creative with the software we have. And I'm guessing that Nintendo didn't do that with developers. It might be the case that they did or whatnot, but I don't think it's solely on the developers' point of view, because there are some developers that really tried their best with the Wii. One of them being Tecmo Koei, and let's be real, a lot of people give shit for Tecmo Koei and such, but for every new console release, they've released not a new IP, tends to be spin-off games or even new IP in some cases. And I think with the Wii, they tried their best, and using the motion controls to do battle sort of simulations, but they've done it in a first-person way as opposed to third-person Samurai Warrior style thing. It was a fun game. It didn't work. But obviously it was going around that sort of exercise route. And I think a lot of games at the beginning kind of went that route to try and sell copies. Either they went that route or they tried to appeal to the younger audience.
I think that I could add on more to this discussion. I think we all could, right? We could publish an entire book on, the successes and failures of the Wii. But, at the end of the day, even though I think that it was kind of underwhelming towards the end of its life cycle, I do think that it was, a very good first console for many kids out there, right? including me. That was other than my GameCube, which I bought used. That was like my first real console, that I grew up with. That was my first real legit intro to gaming. So I've been wondering, what were your first consoles? How did you guys get introduced into gaming as a kid?
Well, I was actually introduced when I got a Game Boy Advance.
I did not think of that. True. Portable gaming, yeah. I was thinking of home consoles, but you make a very good point, actually.
It's because, here's the thing. I didn't play much games, and I played a lot of shovelware, but then it was when I got my first Super Mario game that everything just started to be very, a whole new thing, just a whole new world opened up to me. It's kind of like, I played the remake, I played Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. It was like a remake to an extent of Super Mario Bros. And it was basically my first experience with the Mario franchise. And then after that, I think my second game was Super Mario Bros. 3, and that was the big game that I was like, oh my god, I love Mario. It's because even now it's still one of my favorite games of all time. It's Super Mario Bros. Improved in so many ways that it's just impossible to stop playing the game.
Like Game Boy, yeah. Come think of it, if I include portable consoles, Game Boy is also my first true console, and I have so many good memories with my Game Boy, specifically Game Boy Advanced, because it was gaming on the go, right? You weren't limited to just gaming whenever you were at home. On card trips, because my sister she was a figure skater back then, and she would go on competitions all the time, so we'd be constantly traveling. We'd go on hour-long car trips back and forth, right? So I was there with my Game Boy, and we were just, it was basically couch co-op because we just passed it back and forth. And my God, the memories, man, the nostalgia is just rushing back to me right now. Do you guys remember GBA? What was it? Mario Kart GBA. That game, man, that was...
I don't remember because... I'm just going to flip this upside down. That wasn't where I kind of started in gaming. Many people who've seen the older episodes of the podcast will know this, but for new listeners who've just come up from Kunai, etc., I started off gaming from the PS2 era. But before that, my older sisters, had a Sega Mega Drive, or I think you guys call it the Sega Genesis, I think. Yeah. So that was in 1994. I was just born. No, I never played that console. I was a baby. This was 1994. Me and my twin sister, basically, we were kind of dumb kids. We were babies, so we had this obsession with sticking carrots and things.
Okay.
And we've done it with the VHS. And what happened was we stuck carrots inside the VHS, and then my mum took out the carrots from the VHS, and the VHS stopped working, the VHS machine. And I was like, shit. But the same thing happened with the Sega. So... We wanted to hear the Sega, the Sega sound when you put in a cartridge, that boot sound. We only had the original Sonic the Hedgehog, so the only way you can open it is if you put something in the cartridge place, and we didn't know where the cartridge was, and being babies, we would assume that okay, you can put anything in there and it would just say Sega. So we got what we had, carrots, and we shoved it in there, and it broke the machine, obviously. That we didn't hear the Sega sound after that, and then it was a long time afterwards. And my cousins, I think they had a Nintendo, so they were the Nintendo family. We were the Sega family, and then it kind of gaming kind of died out at that point after because they were gaming wasn't necessarily marketed towards them, because back then gaming was tend to be marketed towards men. That's just how it was, boys and such. This is back in the 90s, but then obviously they released the PS1. We never got one, but my cousins, they had one, and they had it in their minivan, and I was like, oh, that's so really awesome. And then when the PS2 came out, we both me and my cousins got PS2, and we got it before the release date, which is something that's not supposed to happen.
How? Mom and pop shop?
No, I'll tell you how. My father was a very very persuasive man, let's say. He wasn't doing anything illegal, but if he wanted us to get something, if we wanted something, he would get it for us in no sort of no sort of expenses paid. Like, he would make sure that we get it. Like, for one example was, I went to the Science Museum and there was this one like GI Joe, and it's basically a prototype. It never got like released. And I said to Dad, Dad, I want that for Christmas. He spoke to the man, because it was being showcased in the museum because it's a prototype. He spoke to the man afterwards, and he bought it. You know?
Oh my god.
Wow.
Yeah.
God
And
damn.
that's the same way he got those PS2s. He spoke to the
If
manager.
it's not too much, may I ask how much he paid?
I don't know. I was a kid. I wouldn't know. But, you know, he was the kind of guy, if he wanted something, he would make sure that we got it. So, anyway, so he got us the PS2s. We played it. We played a bunch of different games. You know, there was a lot of launch titles. Rayman we didn't like, so we returned it. Rayman we didn't like. And my auntie, she's very good at persuasion as well. You know, when you open games, you can't return them. Back in those days. Now you can, but back in those days, you can't return games. She goes up to the people at a store called Comet, which doesn't exist anymore. And she says, I don't want these games. And the people were like, what are you talking about? You don't want these games? You've opened them. You've broken the seal. We can't return them. No, she said, no, you know, my nieces and nephews don't want this game. And do you know what happened? She spoke to the manager and she came out with more games. They gave her games.
Dude, I can relate. I can relate. Actually, funny story. You kind of reminded me of how I got my first console, well, my first true console, the Wii, because my parents, if you didn't know, I'm Vietnamese, right? And my parents, if anyone has Asian parents, they know that they have this knack for bargaining, all right? And back when I got the Wii, it was the hot shit. Like, everybody was fucking talking about the Wii, and, you know, it was really popular. It was insanely, you know, talked about. And we were trying to buy it, I think, around Christmas time, okay? So they didn't have many Wiis left, and we went to this local store, so it wasn't like an EB Games or anything, right? It was independently owned. Anyways, their stock, they had like 1 or 2 Wiis left, right? And the price was insane. Like, I think it was like $200 over what the actual price was, because, you know, it was so widely popular that there were only these 2 units left before they had to order more, right? And more wouldn't come until after Christmas. And we really wanted that Wii for Christmas. So all we did was we went to the store, all right? And somehow, after I think it was an hour or more of talking to the poor cashier, I apologize to you, whoever you are, I don't remember your name, but poor guy. We were there for an hour and a half, I think. And we came out with the Wii, all right? 3 games, an extra controller, an extra nunchuck, and we paid for $50 less than the sticker price of the Nintendo Wii.
Because it sounds very familiar. It's like I remember getting a bundle a while ago. It came with a Wii, came with an extra controller, nunchuck, and it came with 3 games.
Oh no! It was when it first came out. I don't think there was anything like this. But basically, we just got the basic Wii, and the guy threw in. Yeah, he threw in games because, honestly, I think he was about to cry because he was being, like, haggled by this Asian woman who would not get the fuck out of his shop. And we got it for $50 underneath the sticker price. Not the one that they were trying to sell us for, but the price that Nintendo was set the Wii at. 3 free games, an extra controller, and an extra nunchuck. Like, I feel bad for the person working there, but holy shit, that was a good deal. Okay, I'm not complaining. All right, we had a very good Christmas. They work wonders. Okay, like I'm kind of like, I was born here, right? So I don't have the same powers that they do, because I swear to God, when you see them trying to bargain, it's like them working magic. Okay, and we spent basically the entire Christmas break playing Wii Sports, and I think my mom played it so much, in fact, that like bowling, holy shit. I don't know if you guys had... Do you have a Wii, Bish? Because I know you had a Wii, right, Joe? Yeah, if your family...
Yeah, I have a Wii as well. That's
you guys remember
story.
Wii Sports, right?
Yeah, of course.
And fucking bowling on Wii Sports was like the shit. It's like, if you had a dispute, like, that shit would go down in Wii Sports, motherfucker. Like, and... my mom, holy shit, she was crazy good at bowling, because once she is bowling and she got 9 strikes and I think it was 1 spare, and I was like, what the fuck? You know, there's so many good memories.
like even with me when I got the Wii, like I first started off with the PS2. I played games like Dynasty Warriors, and because they were the launch titles at the time, like Dynasty Warriors and a game called SSX, which is a super snowboarding cross. I don't know what it stands for, but it's a snowboarding game, really awesome snowboarding game. And then I kind of stuck with those sequels. I was like, oh my god, I need to get the next Dynasty Warriors game. I need to get the next SSX game, and that kind of molded me into what I am today. Like as you guys know, I'm a big fan of those two game titles. And then my decision to buy a Wii, my mum said to me, she said, Bish, we can get you a Wii or we can get you a PlayStation 3. Which one do you want? And I said to my mum, Mum, there's a new Samurai Warriors game coming out on the Wii, and there's a new SSX game coming out on the Wii, and there's no SSX game coming out on the PS3.
Wait, how
So
old
we
are you
decided to get the
at
Wii.
this point?
This was 2006, so minus 10 years ago.
So,
So
when did you become a Dynasty Warriors fan, man?
I was a Dynasty Warriors fan since I was 6 years old.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I used to play Dynasty Warriors every morning, before I go to school. I used to play Dynasty Warriors in preschool, so even before I went to school. So I was 4 years old. Sorry about
Born and raised with Dynasty Warriors.
Born and raised with Dynasty Warriors 2. I used to play that game every morning, 6 a.m. I used to wake up 6 a.m., go downstairs, I'll brush my teeth first, go downstairs, play Dynasty Warriors, then have breakfast, then go to school, then go home, and then I would kind of do that. After that, I played Dynasty Warriors so much that I bought 3 copies of the game. I literally got... Yes, I used to burn out discs because I used to play them that much. And bear in mind, Dynasty Warriors... Bear in mind, Dynasty Warriors back then had like 12 characters. And now it has 120 characters. So I only played as one character. So imagine the time I would have spent if I actually tried out the rest of the characters. That's why I want to make sure that I get the game again. I've been on this hunt for the last 5 years trying to find a copy of Dynasty Warriors 2. I found one recently. It didn't work on my console because apparently blue discs are a bitch. If you know what the blue discs are, they're like the shittiest discs that you got launched with the PS2.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, they don't work anymore. Even on
I
the
had
old
a lot
originals.
of blue discs for my PS2. It's like when I try to use my PS2 games, it's like a lot of them have blue discs and they just don't work anymore.
That's the problem, because the data kind of gets wiped from those discs
really
over time, which is kind of it's a shame, really.
But did they never port those over? I don't know what Nintendo does is they do Virtual Console, right? Did they not do that with the PS3?
This is they do, but it's a very odd situation because this game, like for example, Dynasty Warriors 4, Dynasty Warriors 5, because they were published by Tecmo Koei. Tecmo Koei have publishing rights now, so they published those games on the PlayStation 3 as digital titles, and they're quite cheap. But because Dynasty Warriors 3 and Dynasty Warriors 2 were published by a company called Midas Interactive, which Midas is really a company that doesn't really exist anymore. They do publishing, but they tend to do publishing for mobile games, and they were really well known for publishing Japanese titles when back in the PS2 era. If you want to know more information about Midas, go check our Kunai episode with Hideki, because he used to work at Midas Interactive. But anyway, the thing is that company went bust, and they still own the licensing rights. And THQ as well. THQ, the people that published Saints Row, actually made Saints Row as well, they went bust as well. So at the moment, we don't know who the publishing rights went to for Dynasty Warriors 2 and Dynasty Warriors 3. I'm pretty sure it's not with Tecmo Koei.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Bish, but do you know about Nordic Games?
Nordic Games? I know, I've never heard of them.
They actually bought THQ and merged. So now THQ is back as THQ Nordic.
But the thing is, THQ were selling off their assets. So there was some sort of games that went over to different companies. Like, for example, Deep Silver got the rights to Saints Row, for example. But we don't know who has these publishing rights for Dynasty Warriors 2 and Dynasty Warriors 3. Recently, because I've been going on a search, recently I've spoken to someone who's from a company called Ghostlight. Shout out to Ross from Ghostlight, a company that used to be part of Midas. and he told me he doesn't know who owned those rights. I spoke to Tecmo Koei. Obviously, Tecmo Koei said they don't own the rights. So it's this weird position. We don't know who owns the rights. And to be honest, if the rights are up for grabs, I might as well buy them if they're cheap.
I'm actually reading an article right now about it. It says apparently they've purchased substantially all of THQ's properties.
But that's the properties that were remaining. Bear in mind, THQ sold off those properties when they went into administration. So a lot of them are not with THQ anymore. So we don't know who owns those rights for Dynasty Warriors, whatever. So obviously Tecmo Koei can't publish the games. That's why in Japan, because they had their own publishing rights in Japan, that's why if you go to the Japanese store, they're all available there. You see what I mean? All the games, digitally. Like I said, publishing is a bitch, so it's kind of stopped me in my tracks to buy Dynasty Warriors 2 again. And also in regards to EA, because EA published and created SSX, EA, I don't know what's going on with EA. They don't want to publish those games back. Maybe they want to do a HD remake. I don't know. Either one I would be fine with. But EA, if you're listening, please give us those games as some sort of digital release. I will buy them. All of them. So you would at least get £50 from me. And I know you guys love money, so I'll give you a blank check with my name on it. Just saying, EA. I love you. So yeah, that was kind of like my gaming history. But even today I sort of play Dynasty Warriors from time to time, although there have been games recently that I've really been playing. As I've mentioned before, Overwatch and such. What kind of games have you guys been playing recently?
Alright, who wants to start?
Well, I guess I'll start. So I've been really into Final Fantasy lately. It's like I wasn't really. It goes back to 2013. Like I think the first game I got was Final Fantasy 13 and 13. The first games I got were Final Fantasy 13 and 13 too. I still haven't beaten 13. I guess I just haven't really gone as into as I thought I would. Yes, but I want to say that Final Fantasy 10 is my real first Final Fantasy game because it's the game because when I first started playing it, it's like I was so absorbed into it. It's something I wanted to play all the time. It's like I don't understand. Like I think it was because of school that I wasn't able to play as much, but like now I'm playing through more of it now. I think I'm around the end game. I think I should be beating it soon. But yeah, like I've been really big into Final Fantasy lately. Like I play 14 almost every day. It's like I think Kevin and Vish can attest to that. Like I'm always playing the game,
doing raids and all that all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like raiding, crafting, like just doing my daily stuff like that. And yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy. I've been finishing Final Fantasy 10. It's I own 2, but I haven't played much of it. I've played like the beginning of it. That's about it. But I do want to play it soon. I own 7. I'm playing through that currently as well, and it's really fun. Like I really it lives up to its name. Like I thought like maybe like the fact that it was an older game would put me off, but honestly like it's something I can ignore because of how much like how good it is. It's a really solid game.
Yeah, some games just age really well.
And yeah, Final Fantasy 7 ages very well. And yeah, like I'm hoping like after I get all these games beaten, and I eventually finish 13, I want to play through the rest of the series and kind of get to know it a little
13
better.
or like
and I'm also planning to get 15
rest of the series in general
when it comes out. 15 and the rest of the series. Like I want to play like as many games as I can from the series. And I've also been playing. I don't normally play mobile games, but I've also been playing Final Fantasy Brave Exvius. It's made by it's a collaboration between Square Enix and a company called Gummy, if I recall correctly. Gummy is the same company that made Brave Frontier, if people know about that. It's basically like it has like the same quality as like a normal Final Fantasy game. Like it kind of like it has like the CGI, it has like the big summons, it has the magic, and the vast amount of units you can use in the game. Like they're called visions, where you summon visions, which are basically characters from different parts of the franchise. So for example, on my team right now, I have Shantotto from Final Fantasy 11. I have the Warrior of Light from the original Final Fantasy. I have Firion from Final Fantasy 2. And I have the original characters like Rain and Fina. And I have units. I have the World of Darkness, which I don't know which game the World of Darkness comes from specifically, but I know it's like I think it's a concurring thing. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. And I have a character named Shadow, which I might soon replace with the Warrior of Light. And I haven't put the character on my team. I also have Vivi, which is from Final Fantasy 9, which I do want to play. So yeah, like, it's all these different characters you can put on your team and just fight different monsters. It's really cool. So that's basically my huge like Final Fantasy situation.
You've been going on like a Final Fantasy rampage during the summer.
Yeah. Like, it's a really good series. It's like, it's very like, it's all I haven't hated, besides like, I don't hate 13. It's just something I haven't been getting into. But like, other than that, I've fell in love with every other Final Fantasy game. It's a very magical franchise.
I have the kind of opposite effect to kind of with you. For me, my first Final Fantasy game was actually Final Fantasy 13, although I did play a lot of Final Fantasy 3 from the Famicom version, which was actually a fucking amazing game. But Final Fantasy 13 really annoyed me because I didn't get to finish it. And I spoke to Kevin about this way back when I was doing the gardening as I was speaking to Kevin. And that's one of the games I've never completed. I haven't gone past the second disc in that game. It's just frustrating because the way the game
stuck
works,
at the second disc too?
Yep, same here. Second disc
I'm
club.
Second disc.
Second disc. But what I'm stuck on is...
It's actually really interesting about 13 is like the Xbox 360 release had 3 discs.
Yeah.
While the
But
PS3
that's because
release had 1
PS3
disc.
is because it was on a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
That's why. Blu-ray can hold more data.
Whereas Xbox, it was weird because I think it's the only case of its type because it's not like the traditional multi-disc case where it's, there's a flap thing where you just flap through the cases. It's the 3 discs were stacked on each other, which is pretty shit for the discs themselves, I can't imagine that really helps them in terms of longevity.
It damages the discs. But the thing is with that game was I got up to the bit where you have to fight that guy with 7 heads. Like he was an owl and he transformed into a human and then he transforms into like an Eidolon or something. The thing is with the game, it's not the fact that it's very grindy and it's very linear story. It's the fact that I was new to RPG, so I didn't know that multiple saves are your friends. I just done one game save and I put myself into a corner. My characters were really under-leveled and such. So it took me a long time to kind of beat that guy. And then he cast something called Doom. And what Doom is, it's like a death counter.
It's insta-kill, yeah.
Yeah. So when that counter goes to 0, you die.
Until your characters...
Which is very dumb because I was almost killed him. And then, bam, Doom activated. I was like, fuck. So I that really made me rage quit. Like, I've never rage quit from a game except for Final Fantasy 13, and it put me off RPGs altogether. I only played it because my friend Daniil and obviously the other friends in my school, they were like, oh man, you really need to play Final Fantasy 13. So I picked it up and I was like, okay, cool. But the problem was, it just raged me to such a point. And the game that made me have faith in RPGs again was Persona. I'll be real with you. So, but to be honest, Final Fantasy is... I don't know. Should I go back and play other Final Fantasies? Because I know they're going to remake 7.
Well, there are lots of complaints about 13,
10 as well.
So, like...
There is.
Unfortunately, there's this huge debate, there's one half of the community that's like, Final Fantasy 13 wasn't that bad, and other people are like, you know what, Final Fantasy 13 was complete shit, it deviated away from what the series truly was, etc., etc. And I kind of I don't know about that because it was my first game in the series, so I don't know whether or not it, changed a lot from past titles, but what I can say is that when I first played it, and I wasn't the one that wanted to get it originally. It was my sister who was really hyped up about it, right? Because she heard a lot about the series and 13 in particular, and her friends wanted her to get that game in particular. So after she was done with it, I created my own save. I started, but I found that the gameplay was really, really linear, like really on the rails. Like literally for the first, I think, hour, you're just moving along corridors and you just bump into enemies, right? So for
honestly, the paradigm shift mechanic really threw me off. I don't know, but like if you were under leveled, and you didn't know exactly how to use your paradigm shifts, it's like you were kind of screwed because there are lots of bosses that are just really annoying.
There's a lot of RPGs like that. For example, one of the most recent RPGs that was released in like May, I think it's called Azure Knights. It works in a similar sort of way, not necessarily paradigm shifts, but you have these little demons that you summon, and you can like use different ones in conjunction with each other, and it kind of reminded me of that paradigm shift system from Final Fantasy 13. It's confusing, but for some reason it works in certain RPGs. One of them being Final Fantasy, especially because Final Fantasy was kind of odd because you have your it's turn-based combat and whatnot, but at the same time it didn't. I'm not sure if it was turn-based.
It wasn't quite turn-based. No, it was like real time, and you'd have to wait for your bar to charge up completely, and whenever you're ready, you just cast all of your attacks.
You have to hit your enemy a certain number of times before they become staggered, and then that's when they're most vulnerable.
See, I remember that. It's just it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't gonna pick up the second game because I didn't finish the first one.
Did you buy the second one? Because I found the second one was sort of better.
I didn't. Kevin, I'll be honest with you. I traded in the first. I just literally last week I went in and I traded Final Fantasy 13 because I thought this is a game that's defeated me. I'm not gonna go back and relive this game and wanna. It's not. No.
It's been a long time since. It's been a long time since I've played the game, so like to be completely honest with you, if I ever get the chance and like I have nothing to do, I might just restart the game and kind of just try to be a little more open, like kind of like just remember to grind and like.
I still have it with me, and I could grind through it again, but the thing is, I think the combat isn't the problem. It's not why I disliked 13, right? The combat I think was actually pretty cool because paradigm shifts allow you to change the way you fight, right? Gives you more options. Right, and the combat was really fun in my opinion. But the thing is, it's just that in an RPG, what I value is the ability to explore, right? Because you're kind of thrown into the shoes of this random person in a fantastical world, right? And you want to explore this world, you want to know more about it. But in 13, it's kind of the opposite. They kind of constrain you to this one path, and it's like if you try to go off that path, it's like no, fuck you, get back to that path. You are going to play this game the way we want you to play it, right? So that. The limiting of this exploration, right, kind of killed it for me, right? Because you can only get so grindy and so repetitive before I just kind of give up. And that's why I think 13.2 did a better job of providing a more open world for you to explore, right? And even I didn't finish 13.2. And the reason for that is because it's design choice where I got to a certain point in the game where to advance further, you had to go back to previous maps and collect these items, and it was just like no, that kills the pace.
One thing that I have to say about Final Fantasy 13 is the fact that you mentioned this whole kind of system where you're going down corridors and such like that, but there are a lot of RPGs that are. This is effectively a dungeon crawler, as opposed to like a more so open world RPG. There's a lot of RPGs nowadays that are like that. Even Persona has always been like that, but Persona has some sort of style and flair to it compared to Final Fantasy 13. Wow, you just got burned, Square Enix. Anyway, so there's those kind of games. You got Azure Knights as well. You got even more recently with the Sword Art Online games. They're effectively the same thing. So I understand that you were kind of disappointed with the fact that it wasn't open world, but I think the game wasn't necessarily designed to be an open world. Yes, that it has a Final Fantasy trademark sort of scenery and whatnot, and it's awesome and you really want to explore it, but the game in itself to me felt like a dungeon crawler because of the maps and how they were positioned, and you just felt like you're going up to different levels, and then you fight this boss and you're like, oh okay, cool, and then I go to the next level. That's how it felt because it was that kind of game.
True, but even then, I find that there are other dungeon crawlers out there that do a better job of letting you explore, right? It's true that dungeon crawlers, it can be a bit repetitive, with going through floors of the same dungeon over and over and over. But even then, like, you think about Pokemon, right? You can go to different cities, revisit them. There are a bunch of mini games, like things that you can do other than the main quest, right? I find that Final Fantasy 13 is a bit more restrictive in terms of what you could do with the world, because it was a beautiful world, right? Final Fantasy is known for its gorgeous visuals, and I think the design is top notch in Final Fantasy 13, much like in
You know,
the rest of the series.
Here's the thing: there's something that always carries on to every Final Fantasy game, in my opinion: the design and the music
And the graphics too. It's just the aesthetics.
and the graphics. Yes,
The aesthetics in Final Fantasy, like you could fucking boot up Final Fantasy 13 right now on how long has the Xbox been out? Your 10-year-old Xbox, and honestly, it would look just as good as something that could come out like 3-4 years ago. You know, it's insane how well these games age, right? Visually and aesthetically.
I'll be honest with you. I can't wait to see what Square Enix has to offer for their PS4 games, especially with like 15 and indeed Kingdom Hearts 3. That is hype. Do you know what I mean? Especially now, obviously, because they kind of teased something at E3 and whatnot. But in terms of what these new consoles can do, and what I mean by new consoles is PS4, Xbox One, and obviously PC. But imagine what these can do. Like, even as you said, Kevin, your 10-year-old console can still make Final Fantasy look that good. Imagine what they can do with better specs, and now with, you know, the new Xbox Scorpio and PS4K or PS4 Neo, whatever they call it now. Imagine gaming like that in 4K.
that looked very nice. Like 15 and Kingdom Hearts 3 are like on track to being one of the most gorgeous games we've ever seen.
I really want to play 15, but unfortunately, I do not have. I've never owned a PlayStation console before, right? So I'm stuck on PC, and if I'm not mistaken, 15 is going to be released on PS4 and
PS4 and Xbox One.
Xbox One. Yeah, there's no confirmation of a PC port at this time. However, from what I've been reading, it's not crossed off the list. It's still possible that they will do it.
I'll be honest with you, like at the moment, the way this kind of generation of consoles is, if you can create something for the PC, you can create something for the Xbox.
Yeah, they're just exactly the architecture. Like in the last generation, is really difficult, if not mistaken, to develop for consoles and PC because the PS3 in particular had a very, very weird architecture that was really hard to develop for. Xbox 360 had its own architecture, and PC was completely different, right? But now with this new generation consoles, they're basically, as you said, Bish, they're basically PCs that have been put in proprietary cases, right? So, like, hell, you can, if I'm not mistaken, with the PS4 and Xbox One, you can replace the hard drive and put in your SSD if you want, right?
Yes, with the Xbox One, it's hard because you void warranty by doing that, because you actually have to open the console. With the PS4, Sony's made it very easy. You just slide off the very top portion, and then you could just take it out and put a new one in. You just have to install the firmware. That's it. Although, yeah, even then, I've seen people mod the fans, mod this kind of stuff, because effectively it is just a PC. Yes, it's not running on different sort of specs as a PC would, because they're all the same sort of specs, but
honestly, it's interesting to see how consoles are going to evolve in the future, right? Because are they going to be more like PCs? I think that's the way to go, right?
I'll be honest with you, Kevin, I don't think they're going to evolve much from here. Because the way PCs work is that the PC has effectively been the same since the 90s. You know, people can still theoretically just upgrade, buy new parts, buy new whatever they need. I think consoles will work in the same way. I don't think that we're going to get like a PS5 or an Xbox 720 or whatever, something ridiculous like that.
Well, I mean, like, I think they're gonna kind of carry on.
They're gonna carry on, but they're just gonna be like, hey, you can buy this module that gives you a better processor. I think they're gonna do it like that.
For all we know, like this Xbox, what was the Scorpio, right? And PS4 Neo. These could just be iteration. Yeah, these could just be iterations, upgrades of existing consoles. This can continue on and on, right? Because, like you said, they don't need to release a new console anymore. It's a matter of replacing parts, right? Because these are PCs.
Exactly. But the thing is with the PS Neo is that you're being charged more for an upgrade. It's not like with a PC, oh, I need a new graphics card, I just need to buy a new graphics card. No, you actually have to buy the whole unit, which is not something I want to see in the future of gaming. What I want to see is that, hey, I want to see a modular console. Like, okay, you need more memory, bam. They kind of like with the
that'd be a
original
bit
Xbox
different
360.
though. I think that's
right. Like Here's like as a PS4 user, it feels really weird knowing that like there's a better version coming out, and I'd have to spend so much money just to get it again.
It's one of the advantages of PC, to be honest, because I think about it, they could do a modular console in theory, but it's so hard because you think about it, Sony, they're not the ones who manufacture and own, the GPU or the CPU for their consoles, right? So they can't really control that and distribute it on their own, you know?
Well, to be honest, I'm probably going to be getting a PC soon. Well, I am getting a PC soon for college and stuff, but like I'm probably gonna start moving to like using my consoles as for like exclusives and stuff, and using my PC for like main gaming.
Yeah, one thing that I wanted to mention about the whole console type thing is that yes, Kevin, it is obviously different manufacturers. They don't manufacture the chipset and whatnot, but I think they could. I'm not really hyped about the whole idea of buying a new PS4 because this one won't. I don't even have a 4K TV. That doesn't really matter. But what annoys me about that is how they're saying that developers will be developing games for this 4K console. It won't affect us because apparently they're going to ship 2 discs. This is what I've heard. I've heard that they're going to ship 2 discs, one for the 4K and one. But what I think this is all rumors. I think there's still going to be the same one disc that can work with both. I think that that might be a rumor, but what I'm saying is that I think that the whole PlayStation 4 Neo is specifically only for VR. I think if you don't have a PlayStation 4 Neo, you wouldn't be able to use the Project Morpheus.
It's rumored for the PS4 rumor is rumored to be used for 4K and VR.
That's what I'm saying. Even with the naming, Morpheus, character from The Matrix, Neo, also character from The Matrix. So I think that's what Sony are trying to do here. They're trying to make that specifically just the VR console, saying, "Hey, look."
Well, I feel like the VR wouldn't be exclusive to Neo, but like it would be harder. Like you need more stuff to run it on a regular PS4. Like kind of like maybe like an adapter or something. I don't know.
I honestly think that they're gonna do it as an exclusive to the PS4 Neo. I think so. That's how I feel, honestly. Obviously, Microsoft are doing the same sort of thing.
Well, they promote it as something that would be used for PS4 as well. Like if they just suddenly make it an exclusive.
Yeah, but that's the thing. We never know because companies like this can say stuff very vaguely. For example, like the people behind No Man's Sky.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I wasn't sure whether I should even mention Arkham Sky on during this episode.
Arkham Sky?
Yeah, no, it's... If you think it's...
What do you mean by Arkham Sky?
It's bad enough on PS4 already, because there are a bunch of crashes, right? And it's not uncommon to see crashes on PS4, alright?
I heard even with a high-end PC, it's impossible to run on
No, like, if you've gone to fucking Steam reviews, it's like, No Man's PC can run this, and you need to run No Man's Sky without, any hitches, frame rate drops, or crashes, you need a fucking console, or need a PC built, handcrafted by Jesus Christ himself, and that's water cooled with holy water. Okay, that's the only way you can get this
even
fucking
then
game.
I doubt it would work.
Yeah, even then, sorry to shit talk No Man's Sky. It's insane, right?
I think that's the same sort of thing. Like companies can tell you stuff, but they can say it in such a vague way that technically, Joe, the PS4 Neo is a PS4. So for them saying yes, it works with the PS4. They haven't specified which. So, and obviously they didn't announce the PS4 Neo before.
That's just bad marketing then.
No, it's not bad. It's not bad marketing.
Holding bad information.
It's not bad marketing because obviously other companies have done it before and they've gotten away with it. Microsoft, for example, with their whole DRM thing, and they haven't gone with that. But I think now Sony has built such a reputation, has built such a fan base within this generation of consoles that they can get away with such a move. Because VR is not for everyone. VR is for a selected group of people. Not everyone's going to be interested in VR. In the same sort of way that on PC, not everyone wants to play with the Oculus Rift or with the HTC Vive. It's an optional extra. So I understand that making it exclusive to the Neo or whatever they call this new console would make sense in my opinion. Kevin?
I'm really glad that you brought No Man's Sky up actually as a point, because it's one of the problems with PC, unfortunately. It's that PC is very hard to develop for, right? Because everyone has different configurations of GPUs, CPUs, etc., different programs installed. So a lot of the ports, a lot of the time, they are buggy, and in some cases, quite often, unfortunately, they're just downright unfreaking playable on PC, but they are on console, right? And in my opinion, despite this, I don't know about you guys, but I think that in terms of gaming, like a pure gaming experience, PC is the way to go, right? Because you can't get the same performance out of console. By the way, I'm not saying this to be like, oh, the PC master race, right? But it's just that with PC, you have these options that you don't quite have on console, right?
That's completely true, and I think even PC gaming is a lot cheaper because of digital distribution, Steam sales, and whatnot. It's also the fact that you can build a PC with better specs than the PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One for probably half the price, maybe 3/4 of the price, which is, to be honest, it's a great investment to make. Although the main thing that separates PCs to consoles is exclusives.
Steam sales, honestly, it's great, right? You kind of have to live it to get the hype, right? People don't get riled up about Steam sales for nothing on the PC world, right? And it's thanks to things like Steam sale and Humble Bundle. Got to give a shout out to Humble Bundle as well, because some of the deals there are insane, right? It's thanks to crazy sales like Humble Bundle and Steam sale that I've been playing so many games during the summer, right? Like a lot of the games I've been playing recently, actually, all the new games I've been getting recently are on Steam. Like for me, the question would not be what games you've been playing recently. It'd be what games haven't you been playing recently, because thanks to sales this summer, I've been honestly going on a rampage, right? Like during Steam sale, I nagged Ace Combat Assault Horizon, even though it's not quite good. Don't get it. I learned that the hard way. I've gone the first Borderlands. I'm a huge Borderlands junkie, by the way. What else? Bish got me friggin' Danganronpa 1 and 2, Dragon's Dogma, which is great. And from the Humble Bundle, I managed to snag both Battleborn and Borderlands the pre-sequel. There you go. And honestly, recently, most of the time I've been playing Battleborn. Hey, you guys hear that? That's the sound of all the Overwatch people sneering at me for playing Battleborn. But
look, I'll be real with you, Kevin. Battleborn is not a bad game. I've played it. It's all right. It's the fact that Blizzard were very sneaky in their marketing.
They were,
as soon as Battleborn was released, they're like, you know what? It's
lol,
the Overwatch
fuck you,
beta,
right?
Yeah, it was just horrible timing that really killed sales.
When fucking Battleborn released, I think not soon after Battleborn's release, Blizzard was like, lol, you know what? Let's release the beta.
I think that's a premeditated move, because how would 2K have known that Overwatch were going to release a beta? They were not going to know at that time. Yeah, I think if they knew, they wouldn't have released it at that time.
Even then,
to
they
avoid
made
clashes.
such a bad choice at choosing the release date so close to Overwatch, though.
Here's the thing, I'm a big fan of Gearbox's work, and I think Battleborn, I haven't played it myself, but I've seen it, and it does look like something I'd want to play. It's just that I can't exactly buy it right now. It's honestly, it's the horrible timing that really killed the sales of it, and if it were released on a different date, I think it would have more exposure, and people wouldn't be ironically shitting on it.
To be completely honest with you, Joe, if you wanna buy Battleborn, don't. Okay, that's coming from a person that bought it I think it's been 2 weeks now and has 46 hours logged onto it. Don't. I only got it because it was $15 for the Humble Bundle sale. All right, it is not worth $70 by any means. Okay, and honestly, I would not be surprised if they decide to go down a free-to-play route in the future with things as they are right now. Because on PC, matchmaking is fucking insane. There are times where I have to wait 10 minutes to get a match, and sometimes even then, after the 10 minutes, you have these new players who've gotten it through Humble Bundle go up against level 100 pre-made teams, and they just get smashed, right? It's Battleborn, it's a great game, okay? It's a combination of shit timing, even shittier marketing, because the marketing was done terribly for Battleborn, all right? That really puts a nail in the coffin for this game, right? As much as I love it, it's the truth, all right?
I'll be honest with you. It was with Battleborn, I didn't quite know what it was. I didn't know what type of genre it was. I didn't know it was this kind of I don't know how to explain it. Like, you know, that Team Fortress 2 style game, etc. I think they call it hero shooters or whatever, but it didn't quite feel like that when I saw the adverts. I was like, oh, okay, I don't know what the hell this game is. I wasn't really quite interested in it. And then Overwatch came, and I was like, this is a game. It's a game. You know what I mean? I know that sounds ridiculous. I think there's a lot of people kind of going with Overwatch because the way Blizzard they've done their marketing really well, like with cross-promotion DLC. They're like, oh yeah, if you buy the game, you get skins for StarCraft, and you get this and that. And they know their fan base, and they've worked and branched across. So they've kind of gone World of Warcraft and all this kind of stuff. And integrating that into Battle.net as well, that's a really great move because they're making sure that people stay on their games, on their servers, on their systems. You see what I mean? And they're cutting out the middleman as well.
Yeah, to be quite honest with you, Bish, I don't know what you think about this, Joe, but I have to say that the marketing campaign for Overwatch, it's got to be the most effective and most, honestly, surprising marketing campaign. It's the best one. I'd go as far as to say that it's the best one we've had in the industry in recent memory, or just ever. Because honestly,
The animated shorts are helping out too. It's like the animated shorts are. It's like promoting the lore is a very good idea.
I also think it's the fact that Blizzard actually speaks with their community a lot. They give a lot of community feedback. As in terms of hinting, they do a lot of hints and a lot of puzzles within the game, like Morse codes and stuff like that. And it's something that they love to do. You know, we've seen a lot of Easter eggs, and it gets fans hyped. They want to know who the new character is. They want to know what the new stage is. That kind of stuff. Like when Ana Amari was released, people were looking through old footage from like when they first announced Overwatch to see like beta gameplay or what, not probably pre-alpha gameplay, just to find Ana Amari. And they're like, guys, this is Ana Amari, blah blah blah. And they kind of created their hype, kind of like they're leaving little drops of like chocolates around, you know what I mean, for us to pick up and find and be like, wow, we found this, even though they've kind of pre-planned this and said, we're going to give you guys the clues for you guys to kind of find and experience with us. And I think that's a great thing because you're engaging within the community. Like I said, we kind of gone into Overwatch, but I'll be real with you, that's what I've been playing recently. I've been playing a lot of Overwatch, playing some Samurai Warriors as well. Before this, I've been playing a lot of kind of mobile games like Pokemon Go, but I deleted that. Other than that, what I deleted it. It's kind of like the other mobile games like Miitomo. I deleted that like 2 days after I got it. I was like, damn this, Nintendo. I thought you were going to do better than this. Anyway, Joe, what have you been playing recently? I'm guessing it's also Overwatch because, you know, me and you, we've been teaming up.
I just talked about I was playing recently Final Fantasy games.
Joe, when are we going to play Overwatch again?
That was so fun last time.
It was.
And I don't know. Bish has seen me. I will go far and wide.
I've seen
just to kill you.
Joe got multiple player for games, which is GG.
Nice. So I'm guessing that you main Reinhardt, right?
Well, I usually like playing as Diva, but I think I might main Reinhardt. To be honest,
I think you should. I think you should.
Bish, who do you main?
Me.
You main Junkrat, right?
I've been changing around my mains. Like if you look at my top players, all of them are like tied at number 1 for 3 hours each. It's like Bastion. I play a lot of Bastion. I play a lot of Soldier 76. I play a lot of Genji, and I play a lot of Junkrat. So it depends on which map I'm playing on. It depends on whether we're attacking or defending. Like for example, on the map called Hollywood, I play Genji or I play Bastion. And in Route 66, I always play Genji. It's that kind of stuff. And same with Hanamura. I have to play Genji on Hanamura.
So you're more situational.
Yes, that's how I do. I don't stick with one character. I stick with kind of maybe 4 or 5. Occasionally, I will dabble in the other characters. But for example,
I'm the same as Bish with playing situational. It's like I've gotten used to a lot of characters. Like for example, if we need a tank, I'll play as maybe Diva or Reinhardt. If we need like a support, I usually take out Lucio. If I want to play as offensive hero, I usually take out like Soldier 76 or Genji. If we need a sniper, maybe I'll take out maybe Hanzo or Widowmaker.
Guys, I'm sorry to bring this topic up, and I know that this question, has a potential to destroy friendships. Okay, but who is best girl in Overwatch?
Oh, I'll be. I've been saying I'll be real with you for like all of the episode. I don't know why I'm saying it. It's like a new phrase for me, but
real talk, man. Real talk.
Real talk, man. Real talk, man. No, but my favorite. You talking about favorite character? Or you talking about best girl? Because there's a difference in that.
Best girl.
Best girl. This is so hard. Before it was Diva. Before it was. Oh no, no.
What happened? What happened?
Before it was Diva, and then it became Tracer, and now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place here because it's like Tracer, and now there's Ana Amari, and I'm like, I know Ana Amari is like really old, but if you've seen her in her young costume, I'm like, you know what? She's kind of hot. Be real. Let's be real. And also, she's a badass.
I'd have to agree, but I think Diva is still my favorite girl.
See,
no
that's the thing.
love
like,
for Widowmaker. Sad face.
No, do you know what freaks me out about Widowmaker? She's blue. She's a Smurf. I don't like that. It's freaky. It's like weird. Even though Joe explained to me her story, but
yeah, I explained the lore like because the story is that she was taken by the organization Talon, and she was basically brainwashed to turn into like their own sniper.
And I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's because they modified her body so that her heart rate's lowered or something, right? So that's why she can snipe so well. I find that design-wise, she's all right, but it's her voice though, man. It's that accent.
Is that French accent that you know and love, Kevin? Like, oh my god.
And apparently, there's this one line that everyone mocks about Widowmaker because she says "ça pique, n'est-ce pas?" That means that stings, doesn't it? But everyone thinks it sounds like "suck dick." So I don't know.
It's kind of like in Modern Warfare 2. You got Tango Sucker.
Tango Sucker.
Tango Sucker. No, but honestly, I think I'll be real. Oh shit! I've been saying that all episode. I'll be real with you.
She's just.
But it's kind of like tick physics. Remember
I'll be
tick
real with you,
physics,
bitch.
Kevin?
2016.
I'm gonna run for president. That's gonna be my slogan. But seriously here, Tracer. Before Ana Amari came, Tracer was my best girl. Not because she's British, and not because of that ass, but it's because I don't know. There's something about Tracer. She's like,
she's a mascot.
Maybe it's because she's British.
Maybe. Well, no, I said it's because she's not British, but there's something about her. She's just cheery and happy, and even her voice is. It's like, hey, cheers, love. It's like, oh man, I would love to have a cup of tea with you, Tracer. And maybe some biscuits.
She has so much energy. That's true, and I think it's for that reason that she is, for all intents and purposes, she is the mascot.
She is.
Overwatch, right?
She's the poster girl.
She's on like every.
She's on the game.
Literally, the poster girl.
Yeah.
No, like I'm like torn between Diva and Tracer. Like they're kind of like even for me.
Nerf this. Anyways.
Or to quote Jacob, nerf this pussy. Because every time we play with Jacob, he uses Diva, he's like, nerf this pussy. I'm like, Jacob, why are you saying that? It's hilarious though, because it just comes out randomly, and I'm like, dude, it's just funny, and it puts me off my game because it's just hilarious. That's what happens when you play games with Jacob. It's just he will say something, you don't expect it, and then you're like, shit, now we've done better than usual, but it's like I felt put off by it, but it's in a way he's cheering us on with those jokes. Jacob, if you're listening, which you probably are because you love us, pow, you're awesome. What were we talking about again? That was a shout. I am allowed to give shout outs because I created this podcast. Kevin cannot give shout outs because
I've lost count of how many shout outs you've given, man. Like,
you know what? Shout out to everyone in the world, all 8 billion people.
By the way, Nature Valley and Nando's, we're still open to that sponsorship.
By the way,
if
Nando's said no. Kevin, Nando's said no.
No, that's a lie. That's a lie.
No, it's
I
true.
refuse to believe that.
I spoke to Nando's and they were like, I'm sorry, we can't give you that. I'm like, why, Nando's? Nando's, if you can forgive us and give us a second shot, we'll be cool. We love you guys. And give us one of those black VIP Nando cards so we can get free Nando's every time we come in. We will promote the shit out of you guys. And also Nature Valley, I never tried speaking to them. I want to try and speak to them and as a joke and see what would happen, but Nando's, shame on
Whoever
you.
that PR guy was on Nature Valley's Twitter account during the anime thing, like, you are a fucking legend, okay?
He is.
Because
He is.
He's a legend.
But no one will ever know who he is because they don't say their names. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, unfortunately. But we've been talking so much about this Overwatch hype and all the games that we've been playing recently, like Final Fantasy and stuff. But I want to know what you guys think about these upcoming games, right? Because I know that Final
Like
Fantasy
what?
15
Okay.
is huge, right? And there's fucking Persona 5 that you've been talking about, how much you love Persona.
5.
It's like, what games are you guys really hyped up for?
Here's the thing. I need to talk about this right now. Well, first, there's Final Fantasy 15, naturally, because I've played both demos. I've gone the demo I got from Type 0. I loved it to death. I got Platinum demo. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. And now I just want to pre-order the hell out of this game. I still haven't done it. I'm very disappointed.
Did you
as
watch
for Persona 5?
Did you watch the 52 minutes of footage that was released? Just like yesterday?
I didn't watch it. Here's the thing. I'm trying to be very, I'm trying to avoid as much as I can because I want to be very surprised. I've been watching a couple trailers, but that's about it.
For me, I think the games that I'm really looking forward to, of course, Persona 5, because I'm a big Persona fan, and my favorite Persona game is Persona 3. Sue me. Don't sue me, but
Yeah, Persona 5 is another game I've been very excited about. Here's the thing. I already have it on pre-order. It's coming out in February. I'm like, you know what? I'm pre-ordering
See,
it right
this is
now.
the thing. I don't know when it's coming out for the UK, because we always get really
It's
odd
coming out the same
delayed
day.
releases. If it is, then I'm okay with that. But if it isn't, then I'm not going to invest in that. Because I might...
for in Europe, they said for Europe, it's going to be released the same day.
Yeah. Okay, then I'm fine. I can
And
just
they're going to
pre-order
release a
it.
special edition too.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good news, Joe, and you really made me happy. Also, I'm excited for the new Danganronpa version 3 or Danganronpa V3.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I just reminded Joe that was a thing, and the game.
No.
Really...
It's because it's the thing. It's like I really don't want to interrupt you, but because there are other games that I'm really excited about, but I didn't want to interrupt you. Danganronpa V3 is I'm excited for it, but I know it's not going to come out for a while, in the US. Maybe it'll come out next year. Maybe it'll come out the year after.
Well, I think another game that I'm most excited for would be Criminal Girls 2. And let me explain myself here. Criminal Girls hasn't gotten the best sort of reputation because of its sexual content. And people kind of say that, you're torturing these girls for sexual pleasure, that kind of stuff. You look past all of that. It's actually a really nice game. It has a really great story behind it. It's actually, originally it was a PSP game. It got ported to PlayStation Vita. And NIS America are, of course, responsible for bringing it overseas. So thank you very much, NIS America, for bringing it overseas. And they're bringing the second game overseas, because obviously the first game was popular in Japan and obviously in the West as well. It is obviously going to get censored, but, I'm used to it by now. But I'm just really excited because I want to know what were the stories of these girls, how they got into hell, because the way Criminal Girls works is that these girls are in hell because of their crimes or their sins, and your goal is to get them out of hell. And it's an RPG. You fight demons and stuff like that. It's actually awesome. It's like a dungeon crawler, and I'm really excited for that. Another game I'm excited for... Ooh. If there's a Dynasty Warriors 9, I'm going to be excited for that. And that's pretty much it. I haven't really been keeping up with E3 and the new games that are coming out. But I have to wait until TGS to kind of find out what new Japanese games are coming out and kind of get hyped for that, really.
I'm just excited to see more information. Hopefully I want to see more information on Danganronpa V3, because they're being very silent about it. It's they showed some more. They showed a little footage, but that's about it.
I think they're waiting
only 3
until
characters they showed so far.
They're waiting until the anime finishes, or they're gonna wait until TGS. That's when they're gonna announce something.
It's probably until TGS. I don't think the anime is kind of related, since they said the anime is supposed to end the Hope's Peak storyline. Danganronpa V3 is gonna be its own storyline. Yeah, because the reason Danganronpa 3 is the thing is also because they want to conclude because Danganronpa 1 to Danganronpa 3 is supposed to be the Hope's Peak saga. like once they move to Danganronpa V3, they're gonna have a new school, they're gonna have new characters, and they're gonna do some different things.
Cool. Well, like in terms of what I'm looking forward to, I would honestly, I would say Persona 5 and Final Fantasy 15, but obviously I only have a PC, a Wii, and Xbox 360 at this moment, so until I buy a PS4, unfortunately, I will not be able to actually play those games. But in terms of what I'm looking forward to, I'm actually quite surprised at how many 3DS games I want to play, right? Because honestly, I haven't really touched my 3DS for a while, ever since I beat, what was it? Damn it. What is it called? Jeez, I'm having a huge brain fart right now.
Kevin, sorry to interrupt you. I think you need to play Persona Q.
Should I play it though? Because I mean, is it going to spoil anything?
No, it's not. It's not.
In other games?
It's not. I don't think it is, Joe. Joe would know because he's played it.
Well, I mean, I still haven't beaten it. Like the third dungeon still scares the crap out of me. like in terms of like scenery and the difficulty. Like I'm pretty sure the third dungeon is the hardest dungeon in the game. And I'm just trying to go through that right now. It's because it's really bull, because it's like if you're not leveled enough, like if you're not fast enough, then the enemies will cast like some kind of wind resistance down on you, and then the enemies will cast AoE wind, so that it hits the entire party and everyone gets killed.
I have a question for you guys, actually, because I mean, I do look forward to Persona Q, to playing it until it released, obviously, but I will get it eventually, I guess, after, the games I look forward to. I'll get into a bit, but
right. Persona Q is canon, so you should be sure to play it.
But in terms of gameplay, though, is it similar to, say, Persona 4 or Persona 3?
I'll explain the gameplay to you.
It's a split of Etrian Odyssey and
yes, I was going to say that. Yeah, Etrian Odyssey in the terms of like how the dungeons work. You see what I mean? Like it's kind of like a first-person type view, kind of like that final dungeon in Persona 4 Golden. I think you know what I'm talking about, Joe. But it's like that kind of first-person view, and enemies will come random. So it's not like Persona 4 where you can avoid the enemies. The enemies will come at random as like a pop-up, and then you got to battle them. But in terms of
is that how you navigate the gameplay? The dungeons
in the third
in
dungeon's case.
Is that how you navigate the dungeons in like first person? Or
dungeons are in first person, and you move on them similar to it's similar to a palette. It's kind of like you're moving across quote-unquote squares. Like it's not free roam. And it's like each dungeon will kind of have its own gimmick. For example, like there's in the second dungeon there will be enemies that are kind of turning, like they kind of turn as you move. And like there are enemies that will kind of mess up your movement so that you move in reverse when you go up. Like for example, you move up, you go down. And for the third dungeon, which is supposed to be like the horror dungeon, like enemies will randomly drop on you and they'll chase after you until you escape the room.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it eventually, but what I'm looking forward to soon in terms of 3DS releases, Joe, you might be happy at one of them. Two of them are, firstly, Pokemon Sun and Moon, obviously. Although I probably should actually play, Omega Sapphire and Alpha, the two remakes, because ironically enough, my first Pokemon game, my first true Pokemon game was Emerald, alright? So I really loved that generation to bits, and I was really hoping for a remake for a long time, and finally it does come out, and then I just never got around to actually getting it. So I should get that, but I think I will get Sun and Moon first. After that, do you guys know Corpse Party?
Yes.
Bish, you played Corpse Party, right? For 3DS.
No, I played it for Vita. I traded it in, completed it, or traded it in.
Do you finish it?
Yeah, I don't really. It was like one of my first ever horror games, and I don't know what to think of it. I don't really like talking about it. PTSD, but you know what I mean. It brings back some sort of memories, But the game was good. I'm not going to deny that. But for me, because I'm not into scary games, it's brought back a lot of jump scares and stuff. I hate jump scares. You brought back a lot of stuff like that. It makes me want to watch the anime though. I really want to see what the anime's about.
The Corpse Party OVA?
It's not a
I've seen
fully
it.
fledged
I've seen-
series.
Yeah, it's just 4 episodes.
Mm.
It wasn't bad. Like it's very gory, very bloody, which I really enjoy.
It's good to know, Joe. Good to know.
Good, yeah.
So you're
know,
looking
it's
forward
just-
to Corpse Party.
Corpse
isn't it,
Party,
Kevin?
yeah. The thing is, I've already seen. Yeah, it's not super scary. There are a few jump scares, admittedly, but it's not something like I would put on like Amnesia level of scary. But the reason I want to play it is just because the lore seems really good, right? Because I watched a few Let's Plays from different YouTubers of I think it was Blood Drive, all right, and it seemed really nice, and the story and the characters. They seem really interesting to me, right? Even though I don't normally play horror games, right? Like I have like fucking a few Resident Evil games, Zombie on Steam that I still haven't finished because honestly I'm kind of queasy when it comes to jump scares and creepy environments. But I think that Corpse Party it's a top-down game, right? So it's not going to be on the same level. I might be able to handle it, hopefully, when it comes out on 3DS. No, I'm pretty sure it comes out is mid-September because soon. And the third one, which I think Joe will approve of, is the new Ace Attorney game.
Oh my god!
Did you forget you were hyped about?
I'm so sorry. I completely forgot to mention that.
I was like, it's
I
so
don't know why it
strange
didn't come to my
that
mind.
Joe doesn't mention Ace Attorney at all because he fucking talks about it all the time, right?
Yeah, it's like next to Danganronpa, it's one of my favorite games ever. Like I think about it all the time in my sleep. September 6th is when the new game is coming out, Spirit of Justice, and I've played like every single game.
It looks
and I'm
really
prepared
hype
for this.
It looks really hype, honestly. No, just great games. And the thing is, I love mobile gaming is because I don't have all that much time once the school year starts.
I completely agree with you there. That's the same sort of thing why I love my PlayStation Vita. Obviously now I'm kind of don't necessarily have the time to bring my Vita around with me. Yes, because I don't. My commute is not that long anymore, and it's also the fact that the areas that I go to, and I work kind of long nights and stuff. So I wouldn't want to bring, like a console, an expensive item that I can get robbed. I don't want that. So I just keep it at home now. But if I'm at home and I'm gaming, there's no point for the Vita. I'm like, I'm sorry, Vita. I have to put you away until you're needed.
Take out the big guns.
Yeah,
PS4.
It's the same sort of thing with you and the 3DS. It's like you're playing on PC now, and you're
I'm a
at home,
train
so...
gamer. I think we've all been train gamers at some point in our lives.
I have, especially with me living on the train.
Remember, Vish still lives in the London Tube. That's why he
Yeah.
has such good Wi-Fi because London Tube Wi-Fi is apparently
It's
really good
amazing.
from what I hear.
It is. No, I'm not even joking. It is really good. It's like 200 megabits.
Yeah, man. Like it's.
Meanwhile,
here's
I'm
the
here
thing,
with like 25
the new
megabits.
Ace Attorney game. The new Ace Attorney game is bringing back a lot of staple parts of the franchise. It's like they're bringing back like a bunch of past characters. They're bringing back Larry and and Emma Skye, which we haven't seen since Apollo Justice. Actually, I don't say Apollo Justice. She's also chronologically, her last appearance was Apollo Justice, but in reality, according to game release, her last appearance was Ace Attorney Investigations. And they're also bringing back some newer characters. They're bringing back Trucy from Apollo Justice. They're bringing back Athena Kikes from the newest game, Dual Destinies. The newest mainline game, not to include the Great Ace Attorney. They have a bunch of DLC cases to go bring back, the Moon Matrix. They're gonna have the Magatama, Psyche Locks. They're gonna have Perception, in Apollo Justice. It's basically a huge love letter to the series, in my opinion, and with its all new storyline as well. And they're bringing back Maya Fey, which we haven't seen since the third game in the series. It's so far there have been 9 games released. We haven't seen any trace of Maya since the third game.
Other than 3DS, though, there are 2 extra games. I don't know if you guys are too familiar with these two franchises that I'm about to talk about, but Halo Wars 2, alright? Because shout out to Halo Wars, it's such a hype entry in the Halo franchise, honestly, even though it's kind of a niche game with, a very niche, but, good cult following to it, I love it to bits, right? And I really hope that Creative Assembly delivers with Halo Wars 2. Unfortunately, it's been delayed, I think, to 2017, Q1. It's supposed to come out this year, Q4, but, whatever, a few months isn't going to kill me. Just Ensemble did a great job at transitioning and capturing the Halo universe in an RTS, right? And frankly, it was what really got me into the RTS community, quite frankly. And I really hope that they deliver with Halo Wars 2, especially in terms of story, right? The second game that I'm looking forward to is what is it? Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda. Have you guys played any Mass Effect games yet?
No, haven't. One of my friends, Steph. Oh, I haven't spoken to Steph in a long time. Steph, if you're listening, you're awesome. I don't know. Steph was like, "Oh, Bish, you need to play Mass Effect." And to this day, I haven't really played Mass Effect. But she's always telling me to. So maybe, Steph, maybe I might play Mass Effect one day, and I'll get back to you on that. But to be honest, I haven't played it.
I agree with the stuff because, the thing is, I watched Let's Plays of Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 on YouTube, when they came out. It looked interesting, but I just didn't think that was my thing, right? Then I tried it because I got it with the Humble Bundle when I first got my PC, and I didn't touch it for a year and a half. And then I finally played it during this year's March break, right? And I've played the entire thing in 1 week, and honestly, the gunplay and the RPG elements they just blew me away, right? This is some of the most fun gunplay that I've seen in a while. And quite frankly, I'm usually an FPS guy, right? I don't really play many third-person shooters because I don't really like them that much. But the gunplay in Mass Effect is something that I have to commend. It was really solid, right? And not only that, the lore is great, right? You can just kind of sink into the lore because there's so much of it. So definitely, if you have time, I would really strongly recommend that you try Mass Effect. If anything, you can start with Mass Effect 2 because that's kind of the staple of the franchise, honestly. But with that being said, guys, we've had a huge discussion about games. Honestly, I'm really happy with what we've been saying. It's such a hype
felt
episode.
So good.
No, honestly,
if you know me, I love talking about video games and stuff with people. I just never stop. It's there's so much to talk about and so much to discuss.
To listeners, this episode could be 5 hours long if you wanted to, and
that's the thing
because
we've been talking. We used to do this kind of stuff after Kunai talks. After episodes of Kunai, we just sit down and talk about games, and we would be in the Skype call for an extra 2 hours, which is unbelievable. So that's what we kind of expect to give to you guys, real game discussions, as well as more curated stuff where we do research and kind of discuss based upon research. In terms of what's going to happen as well, what else is going to happen? In terms of what's going to happen, we will be doing, I did promise you guys, a Dynasty Warriors 9 episode, and thank you for everyone who submitted their thoughts and their suggestions for Dynasty Warriors 9. I'll compile them and put that into an episode. I'm not sure if Joe and Kevin will be on it because I'm not sure if they play Dynasty Warriors, but
I haven't played Dynasty Warriors.
But I'm not quite as familiar as you are, Bish, with the franchise.
The thing is, I will try my best to bring on people who have played Dynasty Warriors. And if people are asking, can you bring someone from Tecmo Koei? Unfortunately not. We can't bring anyone from Tecmo Koei on because they are quite busy at the moment because of Gamescom, which is, it's unfortunate, but I'll try my best to make that episode as awesome as possible. And once again, I'd like to extend my thanks to you guys because without your suggestions, that episode wouldn't have been a thing. And even then, without your support, this relaunch wouldn't have even happened. So thank you very much. And obviously, thank you, Kevin and Joe, for being on the episode as hosts. And you'll be seeing more of them every month.
There's honestly no thanks necessary. I love being on and talking about this kind of stuff.
I think we need to.
Probably my favorite things to do.
Yeah, Joe and I think that we're both thankful to Bish, for creating the podcast, and to you, the listeners, as well. Because if the fans of this podcast hadn't stuck around, if you think about it, if the fans weren't there to make Get Life Podcast a success, we would not have Kunai, and we wouldn't even have Relaunch today, right? So everything that we've accomplished so far, it's thanks to the fans, right? We couldn't have done it without your support.
And as you mentioned, Kunai, I'm suspecting that a lot of people have come over from Kunai to watch this kind of episode. But if you are new to Get Live Podcast and you like anime, you can obviously go and check out Kunai. We do every month. We talk about a different show that you guys suggest to us. And obviously we'll still be doing this podcast every month as well. So we'll be having content on both of the podcasts every month for your entertainment. And yeah, I think that's it. Say goodbye, guys.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
So, see you guys.